Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching. So today we're going to be going over my mono black list. This is the list that I used to help achieve rank 1 Mythic in January 2023, just a few days ago. Since then, I've unfortunately decayed a little bit and been on a bit of a losing streak with Azorius soldiers. However, I wanted to go over this list here just to show it to everybody and do a bit of a quick deck tech and talk about what you can expect with this list. So this is the one I've been playing with for a while. The reason is because I started running into mostly aggressive decks on the Mythic ladder. I was not facing very much mono blue or Grixis control or even the mirror match mono black mid-range lists. So I planned my mono black list accordingly. So I went up to 12 1-drops, although 4 of these are cut down. If you're able to resolve this turn 1 to kill reds either turn 1 or turn 2 play, you're going to win the game probably close to 80 or 90% of the time, and that's not an exaggeration. Having a cut down for their turn 2 play, they turn 1 Kumano and then turn 2 try to play a Phoenix Chick or something like that. The only time you lose having a cut down on turn 1 is if they Kumano turn 1 and then they turn to like a Felden or they turn to a Bloodthirsty Adversary, and then it comes out as a 3/3 from the Kumano and you can't cut down. But they typically don't have that. So if they don't, then you mostly win. Even if they do, not the end of the world. You have Go for the Throat, Infernal Grasps, Trespasser, Shieldred, and Flesh Gorger. So getting into the 3-drops, 4 Trespasser and 2 Flesh Gorger. So Trespasser is just an absurd card, both into mono blue and into red and soldiers. Again, not seeing much mono blue at the moment, but you being able to have that versatility is important. It's just one of the best 3-drops in the format right now, period. Flesh Gorger is also really insane, especially into soldiers. So if they're mono white and they're playing Brutal Cathar, Flesh Gorger is just nuts. So it's a 3/3. It'll block and trade with most of their threats, or it'll even survive so they can't attack into it. And then if they do end up playing a Brutal Cathar, you can always just, play your cut down or something like that, or one of your other removal spells, and it comes back as a 7/5. Extraordinarily powerful. Only 2 Invoke Despairs because we want to be lower to the ground. We do not want too many 5-drops, of course, into the more aggressive ladder that we are seeing at the moment. And then 24 lands, 1 Takinuma. So depending on what you are seeing on the ladder at the moment, you can of course change this around, right? So you can, if you're seeing more control, more mirror matchups, you can certainly go down on Trespassers, cut Flesh Gorgers in some number to make sure that you have 2 or 3 Liliana, and then you could even go down like a cut down or 2 to add an Evoke Despair and a land. It's really up to you, but based on what you're seeing on the ladder, wherever it is that you are. But this is a really consistent list. But if you're seeing a lot more control and mid-range strategies, the Okiba Reckonerade is effectively a dead card. So this card is great into aggressive decks where it can buy you life and then also end up trading with one of their creatures. This is effectively a removal spell that also gains you life. So do keep that in mind whenever you're playing this deck. It can be strong, but it has its limitations. Now, if you want to play an aggressive blacklist, there are other better options. Like instead of Trespasser, you can play, or instead of Flesh Gorger, either one you could trade out. But you could play the Streets of New Capenna, the 6/4, the heavy hitter. You could play that instead. It's really up to you. You could also play the 2/1 that enters the battlefield tapped over the Okiba Reckonerade. So those are your options. This is the mono black list that I'm currently working with, and I think that it's going to be well suited if you are facing up against a lot of aggressive decks. Okay, so with that being said, I would also like to showcase the Mechanized Warfare list. So again, if mono red is not your style, you prefer red lists, or I'm sorry, if mono black is not your style and you prefer red lists, you have 2 options. You can play either the haste oriented red build, which I've already done a video on. Please be sure to check that one out if you enjoy red. However, this list here has an interesting place because it's more of a control deck, actually. It's kind of strange. It's a very low to the ground control deck, but you're intended to be very good into creature matchups. So mono red mirrors that are not Mechanized Warfare lists, soldiers, Azorius soldiers, things like that. This deck is very good against them. It's also very good into enchantments. Strangely enough, Selesnya enchantments, this deck ends up destroying them. And it revolves around the synergy between In the Festivities and Mechanized Warfare. So obviously within the Festivities, you can wipe their whole board. Even if they have their 2/2 Lord Soldier that gives everything +1/+1, in the Festivities with the Mechanized Warfare can eliminate that, and then anything that got buffed to a 3/3 automatically dies. Because it goes down, it loses the buff from the Lord. So you can easily wipe their board with this. Apart from that, though, the list plays out like a regular mono red. We have Voldaren Epicures. So the purpose of this is to, one, hopefully you combo with Mechanized Warfare. You can just play it and it's like a shock, but you get a 1/1 as well. And the blood token is not negligible. Blood tokens can help you grind through mana flooding, which these types of decks are prone to do in the best of one ladder. And we're a little land heavy for this type of deck. So 22, we have some 3 drops. So 22 isn't terrible, but the reason we're a little higher on lands is for 2 Mishra's Foundries. And the Foundries are artifacts, so they combo well with the Mechanized Warfare. So anything that's red or an artifact is going to deal 1 additional damage. 1 Sokinzen, just because why not? You should probably be playing one of these for every color. If you're like a monocolored deck, you should at least be playing 1 of the legendary lands. We're playing a Squee and a Chandra. You know, if you're seeing more control oriented stuff, you could play more Chandras. If you're seeing more cut downs, you can cut back on Squee and you know, find something else in here, maybe even Rending Flame for Shieldred. It's really up to you what you want to play at the 3 mana slot. These are kind of flex, but you really do need the 3 Mechanized Warfare. I don't recommend 4 because you don't want your hand to be full of them. So the plan is to play your little threats and then chip away at your opponent with that damage and basically just removing everything they play. Notably, so I'm not playing any mechanized, I'm not playing any Rending Flame here because we have Obliterating Bolt. So this kills most things with the exception of Shieldred. However, with Mechanized Warfare on the board, it does kill Shieldred. So you do have some pretty good play there. The deck's really good. I highly recommend it. These are the 2 decks that I use to hit rank 1, and hopefully you can have similar success. However, if you find that you're playing against more control stuff, you want to play more of a Liliana build in mono black, and for mono red, you want to play the haste version, which every creature has haste. So those are my recommendations on hitting rank 1 in Mythic Arena. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I tried to release as much no-nonsense arena content so that you can make the most informed decision as a player. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.